All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited that you have joined us today for this amazing presentation. Staff team, if you are here, feel free to monitor the chat. But as I mentioned, if you have any questions as it relate to this presentation, please use the Q&A section. I will be sure to answer all of your questions that you have at the end of the presentation. But if you just want to engage in conversation, feel free to utilize the chat for that space. I will not be monitoring the chat, but I will be checking the Q&A section once I am done presenting. We have created space for an hour and 30 minutes. I do not foresee us utilizing the entire time, but there is space available for you to ask all of the questions that you have. So I foresee this presentation being roughly 45 minutes or so, and then after, I'll open it up for you all to ask any questions that you have. But hopefully this presentation is very thorough and we're able to give you the information that you need. So today we are going to discuss our new leadership program, the Nonprofit Executive Leadership Sabbatical Program. And I am Brittany Frazier. I will be the facilitator for this afternoon, and I am also the program lead for the sabbatical program. I currently serve as the Director of Leadership, DEI, and Capacity Initiatives at Allegheny Franciscan Ministries. Again, introduce yourself in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to utilize the Q&A section. This will be recorded, and I will share this out with you along with the PowerPoint deck as well as our new program packet. Okay, so for those of you who are new to Allegheny, we like to begin our meetings and our presentations with a reflection to help center and ground us. I thought this reflection was very fitting for the conversation that we're about to have today. So this was created by Jeff Foster. It is titled, Let Yourself Rest. If you're exhausted, rest. If you don't feel like starting a new project, don't. If you don't feel the urge to make something new, rest in the beauty of the old, the familiar, the known. If you don't feel like talking, stay silent. If you're fed up with the news, turn it off. If you want to postpone something until tomorrow, do it. If you want to do nothing, let yourself do nothing today. Feel the fullness of the emptiness, the vastness of the silence, the sheer life in your unproductive moments. Time does not always need to be filled. You are enough simply in your being. And again, that is by Jeff Foster. I'll be sure to share this reflection with you all, but I do challenge you to take bits and pieces of this reflection and try to practice it. I know it's hard to do that, especially in the times that we are in, but maybe this weekend or this summer, I challenge you to find time to be still and to rest. Okay, so most of you are familiar with our organization, but I know we have some new friends that are here on the webinar just to learn about our new leadership program. So we welcome you, and we just want to give you a very quick high-level overview of our organization. So as you can see, our beautiful team here, we are a small staff team of 8. Our office is located in Palm Harbor, Florida, which is in the Tampa Bay area, but we serve primarily 6 counties throughout the state of Florida, and we are slowly expanding by way of our climate justice and care for creation work. So the folks that you see here on the screen, we have Deidre Houchin. She is our Director of Climate Justice and Care for Creation. Eileen Coogan is our CEO and President. Faith Pullen is our Vice President of Operations. Stephen Goodell, he helps with our office work and our grant services administration work. Aaron Baird is our Director of Grants. Carla Batts is our grants administrator, as well as our quality manager. Myself, Brittany Frazier, I oversee our nonprofit capacity and leadership initiative. And last but not least, CT Harris, she is our director of communications, connections, and outreach. Our mission at Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, we work very closely with Trinity Health, who is our parent company. Trinity Health is one of the largest Catholic healthcare systems based in Livonia, Michigan. We work together in the spirit of the gospel as a compassionate and transforming healing presence within our communities. We are guided by this mission and rooted in the vision of the Franciscan Sisters of Allegheny. We are very grateful for the leadership and the vision of the Franciscan Sisters of Allegheny. If there are any sisters on the call today, make sure you say hello and make sure you introduce yourself. I am personally grateful to have support from the sisters who have helped guided me along this journey as we have developed this sabbatical program. So thank you, sisters, for all that you do. Okay, so there is a problem that we have noticed amongst the nonprofit sector, and I'm certain you are very familiar with the issue as well. We've noticed that there is an increasing prevalence of burnout amongst the nonprofit sector. And we know that this poses a significant threat to your organizational effectiveness, your sustainability of attracting new talent, and also retaining your current staff members. And we also know that it presents a challenge of overall fulfillment of mission. And as I mentioned before, we strive to be a very responsive and healing, transforming presence in community. So we've noticed that there was a problem, and we have decided to step up to the plate and to help in our own special way address that problem. We know that with our leadership program, we can't solve all problems, but we're trying to do what we can in our corner to help address the issue of the increase of burnout amongst the sector. So this is our solution that we have developed and designed, keeping you in mind. So we have decided to design and develop our inaugural nonprofit executive leadership sabbatical program. We hope that this program will allow our grant partners to create individual and organizational shifts that will lead to greater systemic change. Again, we know that this sabbatical program won't solve all of the problems, but we hope that it will help address and hopefully encourage others to join us along this journey as we are trying to address that particular issue. And again, I'll stop here. If you have any questions, please utilize the Q&A section. I will be sure to look at that once I am done presenting to answer all of your questions. If you have questions in the chat, I won't be able to monitor that. So make sure you go over to the Q&A section to write out your questions. I am more than happy to answer those. So the objective of our new leadership program, we are hoping to foster a renewed sense of energy and creativity that will enhance the leadership effectiveness for nonprofit executive leaders. We are also hoping to advance the skills and capacity of the staff at our grant partners organization to create a more sustainable leadership structure. So not only are we hoping to provide support to executive leaders, we are also hoping to build the capacity of the staff members at your organization. In addition, we are hoping to bolster board engagement and understanding of organizational operations and provide a more informed governance. So we are also hoping to engage your board as you all join us along this journey, to give them an opportunity to really deepen their relationship with the work that you do day to day. And last but not least, which is actually probably really important to me, is to spark critical conversation in the Florida philanthropic sector and shift norms toward long-term sustainability and care for the nonprofit sector. So as I mentioned before, this one program will not solve all problems. Our goal is to begin to have conversations with our colleagues across the sector to see if there is a way that they can adopt this program in their own way or develop their own wellness programs that make sense for their strategic vision. So we are hoping to support up to 5 nonprofit executives. And I do want to emphasize that this program is designed for our grant partners. So at the moment, it's not available for any nonprofit in the state of Florida. You must have received a grant from Allegheny Franciscan Ministries within the last 10 years. And I'll share more information around our eligibility requirements later on in the presentation. But I will emphasize throughout the presentation that this program is designed for our grant partners. We do not have the capacity to manage an application process for all nonprofits throughout the state of Florida. Maybe in the future, but for this first cohort, this program is only designed for our grant partners. And the sabbatical will be a 3-month respite period. And it is consecutively 3 months. So you won't take a month here and then a month there. You must take your sabbatical in 3 consecutive months. So March, April, May, or September, October, November. And it will be scheduled to take place in 2026. So we are planning well ahead and in advance to make sure that you have everything in order before you leave and go off and take your sabbatical. So what is a sabbatical? I know many of you are probably wondering, what does that even mean? So sabbaticals are not a new concept. These are tools and tools that have been used and adopted by many other sectors for decades. Sabbaticals are highly revered in higher education, typically a tenured professor, roughly after 7 years, they are allowed to take a sabbatical to go do some research or travel. Sabbaticals are also really popular in the for-profit sector, but it's not a popular concept or idea in the nonprofit sector. There are some amazing change makers across the philanthropic sector that offer sabbaticals, and I'll be happy to share with you who those change makers are momentarily. But this is just not a popular concept in the nonprofit sector. We are hoping that eventually it becomes a normal thing, but as of today, is not. And you will also learn as you continue to do more research that each organization have their own definition of what a sabbatical entails. So Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, our definition for our sabbatical program is that executive leaders will be on a leave of absence for 3 months. I know you can't believe it, but yes, 3 months, the executive leader will not be engaging with any organizational responsibility. So it will have to be a very hard commitment for you to disconnect from your organization. And I know that may be difficult for many of you. Our sabbatical recipients will utilize this time to engage in non-professional development activities. The goal for this sabbatical program is for personal renewal and growth. So we want you to rest, to recharge while you're on your sabbatical. This is not to do any professional development work. This is really for you to take a pause and to just recharge your leadership and your energy. And I know you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, what would I do if I had this opportunity? Don't worry, I have some really cool ideas to share with you. And again, if you have questions, because I know you do, feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A section, and I'll be sure to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so fun things. Here are some of the ways in which you can utilize your time if you were selected to be a part of this sabbatical program. And these are just examples based on the research we have done with other foundations across the country. These are some of the things that sabbatical participants are engaging in. So wellness retreats, you can use this time to go on a wellness retreat, whether it's a yoga retreat or it focuses on something else, but you're more than welcome to utilize your time for that. Tend to medical needs. I am totally aware that working in the nonprofit sector, there's not a lot of time and resources to really tend to yourself. I know some of you may have been putting off surgeries that you really need to get done. If that's you, you can use this time to go ahead and schedule that surgery that you need to take care of during your sabbatical. Missionary work. I know it's probably on some of your bucket list to go do missionary work with your church or another community-based organization. You are more than welcome and encouraged to use this time to do that. Intentional family time. A lot of executive leaders are in that sandwich phase where they're taking care of their kids as well as their parents. So if that is you, you may have aging parents and you may want to spend a little bit more time with them, or you may have grandkids that you want to spend time with, and you can utilize your sabbatical to spend some time with your family. Personal growth opportunities. Again, this is outside of professional. So this is something that you want to do to help you grow as an individual. Work is just a part of who we are as individuals. There are other facets of us that we wish we could explore. And this sabbatical program can give you that opportunity to explore any personal growth opportunities you may have, whether you are a chef and we don't know about it, or you have other hidden skills and talents, you can use this sabbatical opportunity to explore those personal growth opportunities. Passion projects. Many of you, again, are very skilled, and maybe you are a great musician. You may want to use this time to take some classes or travel. This would be my top priority. If I had the opportunity to take a sabbatical, I would travel the world. And I highly encourage you to do that as well if you are selected to be a part of this sabbatical program. You are able to utilize your resources to travel and go to places on your bucket list that you are interested in visiting. And last but not least, estate planning. Again, I know many executive leaders, you are considering retirement possibly very soon. And this will be a great opportunity for you to spend time planning on what your legacy may look like. Again, these are examples of how you could utilize your sabbatical time. We are more than happy and we're open to talking with you to explore other opportunities. And you can also combine some of these ideas as well. Maybe the first month you decide to go travel, and then the second month you go ahead and take care of that surgery. And then the third month, you're just spending time with your family. So there's different ways you can design your sabbatical program. Program benefits. So I know as I was presenting, some of you were probably wondering, now, how would I afford to do that? Don't worry. So we have also built in our sabbatical program some really cool benefits for you and your organization, as well as that interim leader who will be stepping up to take your position while you are out resting and recharging. So we have several benefits that we will be offering to participants in our cohort 1. We will be offering a wellness stipend of up to $30,000. So you would use this funding for all of those wellness activities that I just mentioned. So this money is not to be used for your salary or to pay off any credit card debt. It is for you to explore all the things that you wish you could do. You are not required to access the $30,000, but you're more than welcome to do that. We are not going to rate your application lower if you say, hey, I want to use the entire $30,000. We have budgeted for each person to have access to $30,000. So if you can find a way to use $30,000, then we're more than happy to grant that to you. And again, this is for personal growth opportunities. In the application process, there is a question where you have to be very detailed and outline how you will utilize the funding for your wellness stipend. In addition to that, we will invite you as a sabbatical participant to join us as we present at local convenings, regional and national convenings. As I mentioned earlier, one of our goals is to spark critical conversation across the sector. So last year, I actually started presenting at conferences, just letting people know what was on the horizon as we began to develop this new program. And I do anticipate for us to continue to speak at conferences and sit on panels and talk more about disrupting the system and how sabbatical programs can help make sure that our nonprofit leaders are doing well as they do amazing work. And we would love to invite you to join us as we present at these conferences. Who better than the person that has been impacted directly by this opportunity? In addition to that, each organization will receive a $20,000 general operating grant to use for any unforeseen operational needs. Again, this is a new opportunity, not only for you as an organization, but for us as well. And we do expect to encounter some challenges, but we're going to learn and improve as we go. So there will be money set aside for your organization to utilize if there are any unforeseen operational issues. In addition, I'm not even done yet. I know you're so excited. I am too. Another benefit is each organization will have access to a capacity building consultant. So we are actually in the process of interviewing. We begin our interviews next week, but we will be interviewing consulting firms and coaches that will help us shape this program. So not only will you be working with me, I know, but you will also get to work alongside wellness coaches, executive coaches, and capacity building consultants. So each organization, each leader and their organization that's selected will have access to a consultant to help them navigate any issues that they're having. There is a question listed in the application process that asks, what are your current capacity building needs? And you will work with that consultant to address your needs, whether you need a goal map or to do a SWOT analysis or whatever your needs are. That consultant is skilled enough to help you with broad general capacity building needs. You will also receive a personalized wellness and executive coaching sessions. So each executive leader that's selected to be a part of this program will have access to a wellness coach and an executive coach. Their purposes are totally different. You will be required to meet with your wellness coach prior to taking your sabbatical. And the reason being is based on the research we've done, if you don't plan for a sabbatical, then you don't use your time wisely or effectively. So your wellness coach will help you come up with a sabbatical plan to make sure that you are set up for success and you're not just sitting on the couch for 3 months. So you will be required to meet with your wellness coach. In terms of your executive coach, you will develop your coaching model with your coach. So there is no one model or framework for coaching. You will work directly with your coach and figure out what's the best method of coaching. Each executive leader will have access to 5 hours of wellness coaching and 5 hours of executive coaching. You can determine how you want to use that coaching. So if you want to use a little bit before you leave for your sabbatical, a little bit of that while you're on sabbatical, and as you return from your sabbatical, you can design that as you see fit. Each executive leader will have a different sabbatical plan because you're all at different points in your careers and your organizations. So there is no one formula in terms of how your coaching sessions will work. You can do 30 minutes coaching sessions, or you can do 1 hour coaching sessions, but you will have the autonomy to design how you will utilize your coaches. In addition to that, there will be opportunity for peer-to-peer networking. So you will have the opportunity to meet the other sabbatical participants. There are some times that are designed for us to meet in person. So there's opportunity for networking. Excuse me. And in addition, the interim leader will also receive some wraparound support too. We understand that this would be a new opportunity for whoever the interim leader is. And we do not think this is going to be an easy process for them. We understand that, we acknowledge that. So we have made sure there are resources in place to make sure that interim leader does not quit. We do not want that to happen. Surprisingly, it has happened, and we don't want that to happen. So it is our priority to make sure that interim leader is supported. They will also have access to an executive coach. So they're going to need help and guidance as they step up to be the executive leader for a few months. So they will have access to professionals to help guide them along this journey, in addition to a $1,000 wellness stipend. So this doesn't come out of your $30,000. This is a separate stipend for the interim leader, because this may take an emotional toll on them to step up and have to deal with new people and new ways of doing things. So they will also have access to a wellness stipend to take care of themselves. And that is our program benefits. Hopefully you are excited on the other end of that screen. So this is probably the most important slide. Okay, so what makes you eligible for this amazing new leadership program? So first and foremost, you must serve as the chief executive officer or the executive director for your organization, and you must have been in that role for 5 years. I know I probably just disappointed a few of you. I am so sorry, but maybe this is a retention tool for you to stay at your job. So when you do hit that mark, you can come back and apply for our program. But you have to serve as the executive director for at least 5 years at your organization. In addition to that, your organization must have received a grant from Allegheny Franciscan Ministries within the last 10 years, the last fiscal years. So our fiscal year begins July 1 and ends June 30th. So from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2025, your organization must have received a grant from us. You can be a current grant partner, a former grant partner. Some of these grant programs don't even exist anymore. But as long as you have received a grant from us within the last 10 years, then your organization is eligible, which makes you eligible to apply for this program. And the programs are our TAL grant, the ACORE, St. Clair, Climate Justice and Care for Creation, major grants, Common Good Initiative, and our nonprofit capacity and leadership grants. So if you have received any of these grants, then that makes you eligible. If you need help to remember or to figure out, we're more than willing to give you that information. We do have other grant programs such as our Get Out to Vote grants or impact grants. Those grants do not qualify you for this program. Some of you may also be thinking, what about a wellness grant? If you have received a wellness grant, more than likely you have received any of these other grants. So that will technically make you eligible. But again, if you have questions, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to clarify for you. In addition to the first two, you must receive approval from your board of directors. This is so important, and you're probably asking why. I know some of you are ready to tap out, but some of you do not have a strong infrastructure, a strong organizational infrastructure in place for you to lead, unfortunately. So if you were to take a 3-month, and I want you to be very honest with yourself, if you were to take a 3-month break from your organization, do you feel like your organization will remain sustainable? That is a question that you have to ask yourself as it relates to this opportunity. Even though you may be ready as a leader, it is important that your organization is ready as well. And some of the questions in our application process will allow us to learn more about where your organization is, how healthy you guys are, to determine that next year is a good year for you to take some time off as an executive leader. In addition, as the executive leader, you must reside in the state of Florida. Some of our grant programs supports nonprofits out of the state of Florida. Because this is our first year offering this program and we're trying to be able to manage our deliverables, we are trying to just focus on our partners here in Florida. Again, as we learn and as we grow and develop, we may expand across the country, but for now, this is all we can manage. So you must reside in the state of Florida as the executive leader. Your organization must remain in good standing, And last but not least, we are prioritizing executive leaders who identify as Black, Indigenous, a person of color, LGBTQ, or a person who has a disability. We're prioritizing. It's not a requirement, but as you will see in our program packet and the research that we'll share with you, there are systems in place that you know of because you work in the nonprofit sector that allow certain folks to not receive equitable care just as a human being. So this program is spotlighting those individuals who identify as BIPOC, LGBTQ, or an individual with disability. Anyone can apply if you are eligible in terms of your service at your organization and the grants that you received. But we're going to make sure to prioritize those who are considered to be marginalized. Again, if you have questions, feel free to use the Q&A section. I'll be sure to answer all your questions once I am done. I think I have a few more slides left. Okay, so key considerations. These are some things I want you to really think very deeply about before considering applying to our sabbatical program. So I know some of you may have had this question, especially when I talked about the $30,000 wellness stipend. So a part of this program means that your employer must guarantee your employment and benefits. We do not want any issues with you being out for 3 months and then you come back and then your organization is letting you go. So it is a requirement. And again, I know that some nonprofits are not ready for this, and that's absolutely okay. But in our contracts that we will sign, our grant agreement, with our onboarding sessions, we will talk about this at length. But it is imperative that your board commits to keeping your job essentially. I'll leave it at that. So operational continuity. Again, as I spoke about earlier, unfortunately, some of our organizations center us as a leader. And if we were to leave the organization, it may not function the same. So that is something we have to consider if you're interested in this program. Maybe it won't function the same today, but you still have time actually to get things in order if this program sounds of interest to you. But again, if you are offered the opportunity to take a sabbatical, we want to make sure that your organization can still function without you being there. So these are some real hard questions that you have to have with yourself, have with your executive team and your board as it relates to this program. We also want you to commit to limited organizational contact. What does that mean? We do not want your VP to call you on the weekends to give you a synopsis or a report of what happened at the job. We don't want you to have any contact with your organization. I know that is so hard. It's really hard. I really know. But that is the purpose of the sabbatical program, is for you to disengage and to give your staff team the opportunity to build their leadership skills and their capacity. So we're going to try our best, and that's why you have coaches that will hold you accountable to make sure that you know how to unplug from what you do on a day-to-day. Leadership responsibilities. We want you to think about who can serve in your role while you're gone. Maybe it's your VP, or maybe you want to try a co-leadership model. But these are things we want you to start thinking about. Who do you think is prepared to step up? This is an opportunity for them to develop their leadership skills and get good exposure of what it feels like to be the CEO. We can start talking about succession planning. But again, these are things I want you to begin to think about as a leader. External commitments. Some of you as executive leaders are overachievers. So not only are you the executive leader at your organization, but you may be a board chair at a nonprofit in your community, or maybe you're the president of your sorority or something. We also want you to consider your level of commitment outside of work. So there is a question in the application process that we want to learn more about what you do outside of work, because we don't want you to utilize this time to now just focus on your volunteer commitments. We want you to truly rest. So again, this will not exclude you from being selected, but we just want to learn more about your external commitments. And again, that's why we are assigning coaches to you to help you navigate what that looks like. So no, you don't have to stop your volunteer service, but we just want to make sure you don't use your sabbatical time to now just focus on your volunteer work. And then last but not least, we want you to plan ahead. Momentarily, I'll show you the program timeline. Again, this is taking place next year. So you have quite a bit of time to start thinking and having conversations with people. But in order for this to be successful for you and us as an organization, we have to plan ahead. And again, this slide deck will be shared with you so that you can look over it again, use it to have conversation with your board as well. So the application process, the application will be available in our grant portal system. So again, our foundant should not be new to you. In order to be eligible, you must have received a grant from us before. Perhaps as the executive director, you may have never gone into foundant. Maybe your director of grants or your grant writer or your executive assistant, but it is important for you to have an account as well. So if you need help creating an account, I am more than happy to assist you. Carla Batts, who manage our grant portal system, she will be more than happy to assist you as well. I do want to draw your attention to the highlighted section. So Foundant has improved their dashboard system. So we did do an informational webinar a couple weeks ago to kind of walk you through that process. If you did not have the opportunity to join that webinar, it is available to you on our website, but we're more than welcome to help you navigate if this doesn't help serve you. But again, the application will be available in Foundant. So the executive director must complete the application. Your grant writer cannot complete the application. Your executive assistant cannot complete the application. You have to complete it because we are asking very vulnerable and personal questions that no one else can answer. This application is quite thorough. So there are roughly 15 to 20 questions that include narratives and uploads. So I would not recommend for you to complete this the day before the application is due. I do encourage you to take your time with this application. We are anticipating some very thoughtful and vulnerable responses. So I want you to take your time as you complete the application. There are letters of support that you must get. So again, you have to plan ahead to get those letters. There's an org chart we're interested in seeing. So there are some things that you have to prepare for in order to successfully complete the application. Again, I do not recommend for you to complete this in one sitting. I'll show you the timeline momentarily, but you have more than enough time to complete this application. And then last but not least, a sample application will be available on the website by the end of the day tomorrow. So even if you're not submitting an application, you're just interested in seeing what the questions are, we're very transparent and we're more than happy to share that application with you. So the program timeline. So the application will be available on Monday. I know, in a few days. So get ready. So the application will be available on Monday. The deadline is September 8th. So you have literally the entire summer to complete the application. So maybe you do a little bit one week and a little bit the following week, but you have more than enough time to complete the application. We will conduct interviews the first week and a half in October. Myself, as well as our coaches and our capacity building consultants, will help me review applications. So again, you want to keep in mind that multiple people are reviewing your applications. And I don't know who we're selecting to be our coaches and our consultant, but some of the folks who submitted proposals don't even live in the state of Florida. So these folks may not even know who you are. So you just want to make sure that your story comes across in a very digestible and compelling way. Orientation. For those who are selected to be a part of this program, we will have an orientation, an in-person orientation on November the 7th in Tampa Bay. The location is to be determined, but this orientation will be like no other. It's not a boring workshop where we're just talking at you. This is going to be a very fun, intimate wellness infused orientation. We will be inviting the coaches and the project consultants to come. We're going to be networking, talking, learning about wellness and resting, play some games. We're going to have a really good time. So the folks who are selected in this program, I promise you, we're going to have a good time at this in-person orientation. The sabbatical program, as I mentioned earlier, begins in January. So you have to let us know 90 days in advance when you want to take your sabbatical. So you can take it at any point in 2026, but you have to begin in January. That's when it begins. So if you wanted to take a sabbatical in January, technically you'll have to let us know as soon as you get accepted that you want to take your sabbatical. And the reason being is because there's a lot of training that needs to take place before you leave. We want to make sure that your organization is prepared for you to go. And there's just things in order as you're leaving. We don't want your organization to be chaotic because you're ready to take a vacation. So 90 days in advance, ideally in a perfect world, but we know the world isn't perfect. It would be nice if our executive leaders can stagger their sabbaticals. So some may decide to take theirs early in the year, some may decide to take them in the summer, and others may decide to take it towards the end of the year. There's no right or wrong way to take a sabbatical, but again, it has to be consecutively. So 3 months back to back. But again, you have to do what's best for you, plan ahead, look at your calendar. Maybe there is a staff retreat or a board meeting that you can't miss. So you have to plan your sabbatical around that. And maybe that board meeting will give the opportunity for the interim leader to step up and to lead a board meeting. Who knows, right? So there's a lot of capacity building that can take place, but we just want you to be mindful of your calendar for 2026 and plan accordingly. Let us know when you're planning to take a sabbatical so that we can get with your coaches, the consultant, and have an orientation so everyone is ready and prepared for your transition. And the last day you must complete your sabbatical is December 30th. Please make sure to mute. Oh, I see it. Stephen, can you help me mute that person, please? Thank you. Okay, so the last day to take your sabbatical will be December 31st. So what that means is the last time for you to leave will be October. So October, November, December. You're not allowed to take your sabbatical in December and then end in March of 2027. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, I'm more than happy to provide some clarification to that. And then last but not least, the weekend wellness retreat. So we will all convene back together in 2027. I know we're already planning for 2027. So all of these sabbatical participants will gather together, the coaches will come back together, the consultants will come back together, and we will celebrate this experience. We're going to tell stories, we're going to do some data collection, we're hoping to have a videographer to help us document this experience. So there will be a lot of storytelling and video and qualitative data for this program. We are not opting to do our traditional written report. We may need to do a very simple written report for accountability purposes, but the way we document the impact and the journey of this sabbatical program will be through storytelling. And as I mentioned before, we are hoping to spark critical conversation. So with the stories that we collect and the videos, we hope to use that to submit proposals at conferences and to share more with others about the great work that we're doing at Allegheny. And then some of you are probably already thinking about cohort 2. So the application for cohort 2, if all goes well, I don't know what the world will look like in 2027, but if everything goes well, the application for cohort 2 will be available in the summer of 2027, and then cohort 2 would take their sabbatical in 2028. So for now, it is an every other cadence where folks would be out on their sabbatical. So again, this can be a retention tool for some of you who are thinking about leaving, but maybe you can stay at your job just for a little while longer to join us on the sabbatical journey. So that is our timeline. Again, this information will be shared with you. I have a few more slides. Okay, so other sabbatical change makers across the country. So I do want to give a shout out to these foundations who have sabbatical programs and have been offering sabbatical programs, some of them for decades. So as I mentioned before, this concept is not new, but is not common in our sector. But there are some really radical foundations across the country that have been offering sabbaticals. And I have relied heavily on some of them in terms of receiving data to help develop our program and to talk to them just to get some insight. So the Durfee Foundation is located in California. They provide sabbaticals to nonprofits across the entire state of California. And as you can see here, there's a lot of representation from the West Coast. The Healing Trust is a foundation located in Nashville, Tennessee. Not only do they offer sabbatical programs, but they have wellness grant programs and weekend wellness retreats. And I really love that idea. It was giving me ideas for more things that we can offer to you all in the future. But the Healing Trust is an amazing organization. I definitely encourage you all to visit all of these organizations just to learn more about what they're doing. The Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation, they offer sabbaticals to nonprofit leaders in Winston-Salem area in North Carolina. The California Wellness Foundation just launched their sabbatical program. So they took a while to do some data collection and assessment, but they just relaunched their sabbatical program. Their applications were available a couple weeks ago. The Rasmussen Foundation is located in Anchorage, Alaska, and they also provide sabbaticals to nonprofit leaders. The Virginia G. Piper Trust, that is located in Phoenix, Arizona. They offer sabbaticals to nonprofit leaders in Phoenix area. The Claire Rose Foundation offers sabbaticals to leaders, I believe, in the San Diego area in California. The Barr Foundation, which is located in Boston, they not only offer sabbaticals to nonprofit leaders, but also to teachers. I thought that was so amazing. So that is another foundation. The O2 Initiative offers sabbaticals to executive leaders in San Francisco. So this is an initiative that was birthed out of foundation that consultants decided to carry on. So as you can see, California is really popular in terms of prioritizing rest and wellness. And then, of course, I had to add Allegheny Franciscan Ministries. We are the new kids on the block, and we are so excited to join these amazing change makers to develop this amazing program for you all. Again, we may be the first in Florida, but we won't be the last. Our goal is to spark conversation and to have other foundations join us. Again, this is just a list of foundations. There may be some social impact or family foundations that offer sabbaticals, but they did not come across the research. Again, so I don't want to not highlight them as well. There are some really cool social impact organizations out there that offer sabbaticals as well. All right, I am at the end. So resources. So if you guys did not have the opportunity to join us during our panel discussion, a couple weeks ago, we invited some of our grant partners who are very forward thinking and have sabbatical programs and policies of their own. And we invited them to share with our audience the challenges and the success and the impact of their sabbatical program. So if you did not have the opportunity to tune in, that is available on our website. We encourage you to watch that so that you can gain some more information to help you determine if this is a good fit for you now. In addition, the Durfee Foundation, I have utilized the Durfee Foundation heavily because they do a really great job with data collection as it relates to sabbaticals and why it's important for philanthropic organizations to invest in rest. So this can be a resource to you to help you advocate for yourself with your board members so they can better understand why sabbaticals are important. We do see that some of you may have a challenge with trying to advocate to your board because they may not understand, but there are some resources available that can be helpful to you as you come up with your pitch to talk to your board chair. As I mentioned, the Healing Trust. a really cool organization in Nashville. They do a really good job at capturing stories from sabbatical participants. So if you just want to read about what other executive leaders have done on their sabbatical across the country, I encourage you to check them out. Again, I'll share this slide deck with you. And then last but not least, the Stanford Social Innovation Review. There was a really good article where they were also encouraging the philanthropic sector about investing in systems of care and rest. So again, these resources may be really helpful to you as you find ways to advocate and convince your board that you deserve a sabbatical, because you do deserve a sabbatical. But sometimes when we do new things, it's hard for us to accept it or understand it. There's a lot of unlearning that needs to take place for us to progress and move forward. So we are here to help you and to continue to educate you about the importance and the value of resting and taking a sabbatical. So my contact information is before you. The email is the best way to contact me. I'm very responsive via email. You're more than welcome to call. That is my direct line. I may not always pick up when you call, depending on if I'm working on a project. I may not have the capacity to handle both. But if you email me, we can definitely schedule some time to talk. I know we had quite a bit of folks who were interested in this program. I don't think all of you are eligible just yet, but I do not expect a high volume of calls, but who knows? But my contact information is available to you if you have any questions. And that concludes the presentation. So thank you so much for joining. I'm definitely going to head over to the Q&A section to answer questions. Once I answer the Q&A questions, then I will allow you guys to unmute yourself and to ask questions as well. But I'm going to stop sharing and head over to the Q&A section. But thank you for joining. If you have to hop off, we'll see you later. And I'll be sure to send you all of this information by the end of today or tomorrow morning. Bye. I'm heading over to the Q&A. Let's see. Okay. All right. So there's a question that says, did you say nonprofits in Florida cannot participate? Yes, unfortunately, this program is designed only for our partners in Florida. Perhaps in the future, we may open it up, but for now, this is only designed for our local nonprofits in the state of Florida. Did you see this going beyond 2026? Yes, I do. But again, there are a lot of external factors that may come into play that may be out of our control, that may change things, but we are preparing for this program to be ongoing. The next question. Someone said, I am in tears, just that someone is actually thinking about this meaningful work. I've been doing this for 15 plus years, and all I hear is keep pushing, never to rest and to reset. I am beyond grateful, selected or not. This is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We really appreciate that. And we honor all that you do. Again, if it wasn't for you, we would not be here. So thank you so much for sharing. Will this PowerPoint be available? Yes, I'll be sure to send this PowerPoint to you. If we want to reside in Florida for our sabbatical, would that count? That is a really good question. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. If you wanted to use, so one, you have to live in Florida. So hopefully that answers the question. But if you wanted to spend your time here in Florida, you can, but I'm not sure if I answered that question correctly. So David, feel free to send me an email so that I can clarify. Could an individual who applied to be a capacity building consulting, wait, that question disappeared. Okay. Could an individual who applied to be a capacity building coach also apply to participate in the sabbatical program? Yes. So we will make our announcements actually tomorrow for all the people who have submitted proposals to be a coach or consultant. So you will find out tomorrow if you're moving on to the next round. So that will help you determine if you can apply for the program, but you can't do both. You can't be a coach and participate in the sabbatical program. So you have to make a decision which one you want to prioritize. The next question, are there funds available to support the ED salary during the 3-month period? Can the general operating grant dollars be used towards this, even partially? That is an awesome question. So typically general operating, and I see someone typing, but typically general operating grants is for operations. So yes, that can help for salary. Yes, that can help for to keep the doors open at your organization. I do see a staff member responding to that question. But if you are selected, we will work very closely with you to make sure that your sabbatical experience is successful. But I will allow that staff member to answer your question. Okay, the next question is the orientation during the day. We have a fundraiser plan for that evening, is why I asked. Good question. And I love that you're thinking ahead and you're claiming that you will be a part of this sabbatical program. That's awesome. So we don't have an actual time frame. It will be an all-day event. And that can be a good practice for you as the executive leader. Can you step away from your fundraiser and allow someone else to handle that? But the time frame, we're aiming from like a 9 to 5 situation. So if you are selected, perhaps you can join your fundraiser after, but it is a requirement for you to be at that orientation, and it is a great practice for you to learn how to step away if possible. All right, is this limited only to CEOs or all executive levels? I knew this question was coming. So for now, this program is designed only for CEOs. We do expect to learn and grow and expand this program. So for now, yes, perhaps in the future, we may expand this to other folks on the executive team, or even better, there may be other foundations we can partner with across the state of Florida that can help support us and support all staff members, not just the CEOs. But we're trying to start small and we'll expand as we get better and learn. The next question, do we recruit and train the person who is interim and you guys pay them? That is a really good question. So the person who will serve as the interim should already be working at your organization. And that is, again, I know some of our partners are really small and they may be a staff of 1 or 2. Then perhaps a sabbatical may not be the best fit for you. But we're hoping that this person is already working at your organization. Again, we want you to start thinking of succession planning. So if you had to leave or you retired or whatever the case may be, who do you feel like can continue the mission of your organization? So these are some hard things we have to think about. And will we pay them? No. So they, again, should already be working at your organization and they should already have a salary. We will provide them with coaching and a wellness stipend because we know this is not going to be an easy process for them. But again, they should already be working at your organization. Okay. When it comes to the coaches, interim support team to be provided, will we be able to have a say in who provides support to our organization? That is a really great question. And I'm so glad we actually had this webinar today because we have interviews over the next few weeks, and that is something we will keep in mind. I've participated in coaching fellowships where I didn't get the opportunity to choose my coach, and I didn't always have the best experience. So I do understand the importance of being able to choose your coach. So we will keep that in mind when we do our interviews over the next couple of weeks to make sure, or to prioritize, to make sure that you have options. So we haven't decided who the coaches and the consultant team will be, but we will keep that in mind. Thank you for elevating that concern. How many people will the grant be awarded? So 5 people. We are anticipating to support 5 executive leaders and their organization. Do we have to meet the 5-year executive director tenure by the closing application date or by the time we plan on taking a sabbatical? Ooh, that is a good question. See, I knew we didn't think about all the things, and it's okay. We expect to learn and to encounter some challenges. That is a good question. So I don't have an answer to that. But I want you to call me and we'll talk about it as a staff team, but we didn't think that far through. And that is an amazing question. So it's not a yes or a no. I do want you to follow up with me. Okay, next question. If you are empowering an internal staff member to step up as the interim ED, will the operational grant funds be able to support their additional salary to serve in that role? That is an awesome question. So yes, I would say again, general operating support can mean many different things. We're not restricting you to use it for one particular thing. So as an executive director, you have the autonomy to say, I want to use a portion of this general operating dollars to support their salary. Yes, you can do that. And that is a conversation you will have with yourself and with your board. But yes, you can do that. So how do we pay the person who will cover their current duties? Isn't that what the 20K? Not necessarily, but it can be. There's a lot of flexibility here. We're not trying to be prescriptive as it pertains to this sabbatical program. And that's why there will be coaches and project consultants to help guide you along this journey. Each organization will have a different sabbatical plan. But if you feel like that interim leader deserves that 20K and additionally, then that is your right as an executive leader to make that decision. But we're more than happy to have an additional conversation to talk that through. But that's a really good question. What if you nor the staff get paid but have been doing the volunteer work for over 6 years? Can you, as the executive director, still be able to participate? Ooh, that's a really good question and something we did not consider as well. So for the person who asked that question, please give me a call so we can talk that through. But that's not a yes or no, but we want to talk that through with you. And then the last question, if the organization ED is paid as a professional consultant and not a salary employee, is the ED still eligible? That is also another good question. And I think that deserves some more thoughtful responses. So I do want you to reach out to me so we can have that conversation in more detail. But thank you so much for asking that question. Another question. I'm trying to figure out who will cover the interim person existing duties. And you know what? That is the beauty of this entire program. So again, you will have support from coaches. You will have support from a project consultant. But this is an opportunity for you to really assess your organization. And maybe, again, a sabbatical may not be a good opportunity at this moment. Maybe there's not a good infrastructure in place to allow a sabbatical to happen. So again, as I alluded to earlier, as an executive leader, you may be ready for a sabbatical, but your organization may not be ready for a sabbatical, and that's okay. There are a lot of capacity building webinars available out there, and we will continue to offer some informational sessions to help you be sabbatical ready. But that is a really good question that only you can answer. If there is no one to take their place while they're leading, then perhaps it isn't the right time for a sabbatical. And I think that was the last question. I will allow you all to take yourself off mute if you have any questions so that we can answer. And I'll also just run through the chat, but I'm certain the staff team took care of that for me. And thank you so much. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. No questions? That means I did a good job. That's awesome. I'll stay on for a few more seconds just in case you're being shy. But again, I did share my contact information with you. Feel free to send an email so we can talk about some of your questions and give you some more thoughtful responses.
There's a comment. Hi, there's a comment that says they don't see a way to unmute.
Oh, good question. Put your name in the chat and I'll just find you under the participant list and unmute you. And maybe I'll just unmute everybody. Julie, okay. I'm coming. Okay, Julie, I did select the feature.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Julie.
Thank you so much for, I just echo what everybody was saying in the chat, that this is amazing. And I'm just saying, I like don't have words for how amazing this is. I was a few minutes late so we had some issues going on in the office, but so I did hear you're going to share the slides. Are you going to share the recording as well?
Yes,
And
I will
again,
share the recording. I will share the program packet with you, so you will have all the supplemental documents.
okay. Thank you so much, Brittany.
You're welcome. Have a good day, Julie. There
You
was
too.
another question about if we received a wellness grant, do we qualify? So yes, if you were eligible for a wellness grant, that means you have received other grants from us in the past. So yes, but if you need to clarify, feel free to send me an email and I'll let you know. But in order to be eligible for a wellness grant, you must have received other grants from Allegheny. All right, other questions? Okay, Pinky, I see you. Let me unmute you. Okay, you're unmuted, Pinky.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
My question was, the timeline was to have the application in by September 8th,
Yes.
between now and September 8th. So if, and I'm understanding you to say that you do not have to take the sabbatical if you are chosen at the January time, you can do it at a time that's more convenient for you. So that would give us that time between September and January, even though we've sent in the application as to what we want to do, that would give us that time to either try to get that person that would be replacing us to be in position to do it in 2026. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct. So there will be training that takes place so that everyone is on the same page about your transition. But let's say you wanted to take your sabbatical in June of 2026. You will let us know 90 days prior. So that's probably March. In between March and June, we'll have some discussions, some virtual orientations to make sure you, the interim leader, and the board chair is all on the same page. So they don't have to step up starting in January. They will step into your role when you leave. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I see another question. If you have served in the organization in a different role, i.e. the VP, but are now the executive director, would that time count in the 5-year tenure requirement? No. So you have to have served as the executive director for 5 years, but I hope that encourages you to hold on a little while longer and to apply for our future opportunity. But thank you for asking that question. Is there anybody else who would like to be unmuted? We have time. We have roughly 20 minutes. So I'm here to answer any questions you have, to brainstorm with you. Again, we may not have all the answers today, but we will be sure to get back to you and give you a thoughtful response. Okay, someone raised their hand in here. Let's see who that is. Okay. Mariah, I've unmuted you, I believe.
Hi there.
Mariah. Hey, yes.
Okay, so I think I have it, but I just want to recap to be sure. This is a challenge for us to reorganize what needs to be done, what can hold on being done. So for instance, I would have my program director be interim executive director. So I just need to creatively figure out what and my role can be put on hold, what on her role can be put on hold for those 3 months while she gets the opportunity to have my role. My organization still pays me, my organization still pays her, and we will have the $20,000 to work with to help potentially pay her more or to cover any gaps of what she can't do while she's in my role. Do I have that?
Yes, that is correct. And again, you will have access to a project consultant team who is very well versed in capacity building, so they can also help you address any gaps as well. So I just want to remind you that there will be some wraparound support to help you all navigate.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Claudia, I have unmuted you.
Thank you, Brittany. I know everyone has said the same thing, that this is really incredible. And I know almost all the nonprofits who are on there, I'm sure is excited for this opportunity, and we're all hoping we qualify. Quick question, you said it's for EDs and also CEOs, whether they're paid or unpaid?
So I didn't say that. I said that was a good question because we didn't
Okay.
think that through. So as of right now, there's no yes or no. I'm going to go back to our leadership and have a conversation around that, and I will get back to you. So I do encourage you to send me an email. But we did anticipate some things that we didn't think all the way through, and that's okay.
Yeah,
We're
that's
going to
okay.
learn and adopt as we go. But please send me an email and I'll follow up with you with an answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Carla, thank you for helping me navigate the Q&A section. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions or comments. If not, we'll give you your time back. Again, thank you so much for joining us for this exciting new leadership opportunity. I'll be sure to send over the recording, the PowerPoint deck, as well as our program packet, hopefully by the end of today, if not for sure tomorrow morning. But have an amazing day, and we look forward to you all submitting an application.